Oh, hi! Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. We're here. We made it to the end of 2018. It was looking pretty rough for me. I didn't know if I was gonna get here, but here we fucking are. Gonna ride this straight into hell. I would have done like a fun, here's where we are uncorking of this, but this champagne bottle got opened on Christmas. Me and the person I was sharing it with had like a very small, proper champagne flute full. So there was about half the bottle left, and I put a wine cork in it because it seemed silly to waste the champagne because we didn't finish it. But champagne's carbonated and wine corks aren't meant to hold against the pressure. So someone smartly tucked this like in the shelf on the door, but like so the wine stopper was under the next shelf up. So there was something holding it in place. So I was putting some pickles back in the fridge door and took this out to set it on the counter for a second while I reorganized the rest of the shelving. Scared the fucking daylights out of me by just exploding into the room. Thankfully I didn't break any glass, didn't take anyone's eye out, but I was terrified. I'm gonna organize some things while I chat because that's been my mission for today, is to get the shop organized, prepare the Sewing Nerd studio for what's to come next year. I have a lot of big plans. We'll see if they actually work out. I also sorted all of my receipts and unsubscribed to a bunch of useless email lists this morning, so productive in a very bizarre way, but hopefully something relatable. I don't know how well you can see the caboodle I'm sorting out, but this was a Christmas present and it's full of a bunch of other stuff I got for Christmas. It's all needle felting material. So I have this giant shoebox. I'll decorate it at some point, but it's a nice color. And I will sort all of my needle felting supplies in there and then move my makeup into the caboodle and then use this 3-tiered storage container for like actual sewing supplies. Or I bought myself a fucking Cricut. I'll get into that at some other point. I'll do a whole goddamn review for you guys because I have some things to say about that company. So anyways, let's talk about 2018. I know I've been on the bummer end of the spectrum for a majority of this year, and that feeling certainly hasn't entirely gone away. The 3 biggest, shittiest things that happened this year were losing my friend Skelly in February. That sucked, completely took me by surprise. I hadn't seen her in a while, and we didn't hang out very often, but she had a very positive impact on my life and was very important to me for a long time. But there is still that feeling where like if a comment from her comes up in an old Facebook memory, then I'll think like, oh, I should reach out to her soon. It's been a while. And then it will like hit me all over again. Where as far as the next huge shitty thing that happened was losing my dad. He was sick for a long time. I wasn't in it as much as my mom and brother were by any means, but still kind of seeing the decline of his health, it did sink it into my brain a lot more solidly. But it's interesting just how different losses feel going forward from it. You're changed forever in both scenarios, but it just impacts your future life differently. The third and most immediately pressing issue and most recent development is that I lost my job at the costume shop. The biggest thing coming from that particular loss is like I have never so fiercely wanted to make stuff and just kind of prove myself to myself, if that makes sense. I want to work on really complicated cosplays and obviously doing commission work and Etsy and all that stuff. By the way, if you were at all interested in ordering some custom work for me, shoot me a message anywhere. I'll put like my email and all my links in the description. Let's chat about stuff because I'm like excited to show my skills, if that makes sense, and put them to good use for other people and help out. So let's do the dang thing. I'm almost definitely gonna need to get part-time work. This is just a crap time of year to be applying for jobs, so I am definitely looking. But I like to make things work as best as I can. Yeah, I'm feeling positive about that. I have so many ideas and like actual strategies as far as how to execute them, and that feels really nice. Where I've been too intimidated or self-conscious in the past to give myself enough credit to think that I could do any modicum of work on my own. I'm feeling very strongly about my ability to contribute to the world. In a bizarre twist of things, it's been a big like confidence boost losing my job. Obviously not being a good fit thing, like that side sucks and was hard to swallow, but knowing where my strengths are, literally making a list of like things I am good at just to have it down and not feel like a total waste of space, because I was definitely in that headspace for a little while, and that's not the case. And that's not the case with anybody. everyone is worthwhile. This can be a tough time of year depending on how your year has gone. Even though there were a lot of big shitty things that happened this year, there were also like some really fucking cool things that happened this year. I got to work for a bunch of cool events, got to see my friends that own breweries and work in that industry grow and have all these great successes, and got to share those moments with them, and that is so cool to see people that get to do what they're good at for a living. Being around people living their dream does, for me at least, like motivate me to want to do more with myself, you know? Even when I'm not around other people, I've gotten to make some really cool stuff on my own this year. I know I didn't post that much in the way of videos compared to past years, but I still made some cool stuff that I'm proud of, and I'm glad I have this like whole catalog of shit to go through and be like, fuck yeah, I made those things and came up with ideas and executed them, found interesting different ways to go about making stuff that have been done before. One of the bonkers things about this, putting out a weekly video or whatever the schedule is, I genuinely forget about stuff I've made, even though I put so much time and energy working on the project, to varying degrees depending on the project. It'll just be pushed out by other stuff that I work on, and it's like, damn, yeah, that was a cool thing I did. So some of you have probably noticed I've been getting a bunch of videos out lately. Some of those were just backlogs. Also, I'm nowhere near having the amount of watch time hours that I need to keep the YouTube partnership for next year. I barely scraped by last year, and I've just come to terms with that. I'm over 1,000 hours behind what I need to be at. It's kind of frustrating, not kind of, it's a very frustrating bar to have to get over, because you need 1,000 subscribers, you need over 4,000 view hours, like watch time hours. That's a lot to ask of small channels, and a lot of friends I had made like a couple $100 a year off of it. That's about where I'm at, where maybe I get enough AdSense revenue to a third of the way pay off the material that I spend money on to make the videos. At least I'm getting some of it back, although obviously that will be disappearing after this year. Good opportunity to plug the Patreon, I guess. Just so you know, that is exactly where all of that money goes, is back into working on stuff for the shop and being able to dedicate the time to putting out the videos and everything. It really has such a big impact, even like $1 or $2 a month, on what I get to do in a year. I literally wouldn't be able to do this without my Patreon. Even if you've had to cancel it over the years or anything, like every little bit you've ever given me has really meant a lot. I get very emotional when there's like a new donor, and just every month as the donations accrue, it really impacts me in a big way. Anyways, enough self-promotion. And then the baked bean video, it makes me so happy every time I see it, because it took a lot of work, and I did research a lot, even on the road trip I got to go on, which, by the way, that was like the highlight of my whole year, was going on that 2-week-long road trip. I do have footage and like a whole video I'm gonna do about it. It's just there's a lot to edit, and I will have that out soon. I did the color blocking dress, which does remind me I need to do the video about saving that duck with Lego boyfriend, because that was a fun, weird adventure, and also very bird-filled. That was a very bird-centric day. Soot Sprite pom-poms, I'm gonna make those for my artist table displays when I do a couple comic book conventions coming up this year. I'm doing Queen City Kamikaze Con and Granite State Comic Con. I'm gonna have a table at those, and I just want like little tiny things as giveaways almost, because I haven't done an artist table in years, and I did one to raise money for Community Caregivers, a local charity, and everyone that walked by the table like kept picking up the little Soot Sprite pom-poms, so I just want to make a bunch so that if someone's very intrigued by it, they can just take one. My Willy Wonka costume, I forgot about that. My like femme Wonka. Oh, and then shaving my own head. Yeah, I do that every couple weeks. I'm a little overdue for it. It's cold, so I don't mind having like a little more thickness happening here, but as you can see, I just kind of looked patchy and balding on the sides, so that's why I tend to keep it short. I have very, very thin, sparse hair. It's definitely more exciting going through like a few years ago, the backlog, especially when I was making a point to post every week for years at a time, because you forget about things. It's fun to reflect and go back on things. I know some of you have been sending me pictures over the career of me being on YouTube, but what are your like proudest projects you've done this year? Post about your makes and tag me on Instagram or whatever. So yeah, there's obviously going to be more sewing and stuff like that coming along. I want to improve my skills, and I just have miles of notes of ideas. I have been enjoying the more make and chat style videos. I have been thinking about maybe filming 2 versions of my video, or maybe just doing picture tutorials for my Patreon page or something, where it's a more direct, like, here are the steps on how to make a thing, and having it be just a straight up tutorial. Let me know your thoughts, because these are things I want to work on, and now we'll have the time to actually do so. Working on my Etsy shop has been fun. I've been getting a lot of ideas from people as far as things they would like to purchase from me. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Holy hell, you guys. I own a surprising amount of makeup. This is a lot, right? I know I asked at the end of the jackalope video. I thought maybe that would be the last one I posted of the year, but I felt like doing this while I organized. So those of you that haven't told me what you're up to for New Year's, what you doing? Anything? I might be going to a game night. I thought I was going to have people over, but that's not happening. That's also okay, because hosting can be stressful, and I don't know that I have that kind of energy. At least not today. But I could also be asleep by 9 o'clock, as usually happens on nights. I would very much like to see this year right out the door and make sure it doesn't hit itself on its way out. We're on a roller coaster that only goes up, my friends. Oh hell yeah, didn't even get lipstick on my teeth.